Hello everyone, my name is Nicholas Warner, and I just spent the last 5 hours driving through the absolute middle of nowhere in order to photograph the sand dunes in Oman's empty quarter. So one of the most fun things about photographing sand dunes is that you can shoot them at literally any focal length and it all looks cool. Ultra wide all the way up to ultra telephoto. Everything looks cool. This evening I'm shooting with telephoto lens, like a 100 to 400 I have out. Really the trick with shooting telephoto is just to find cool patterns in the sand, like as the dunes layer over each other, just get like the repeating layers of it. So I'll show you that here. Okay, so you can see here, I've got all of these nice kind of layers going back and forth, and I'm at f11, and I do have a long timer on the camera because at these longer telephoto focal lengths, I do not want to risk any sort of camera shake. I'm about 350 millimeters, and I just love how you can see all these different layers here out of this kind of grand landscape out here. It's just awesome. Okay, I am running out of time here. Got pretty late to the spot. Gonna stay for a couple days, but gonna switch over from telephoto to the wide angle, try to catch the last bit of sun. Okay, so quite literally, I've barely changed my shooting position. I just got out the ultra wide angle though, and you can kind of see here on the screen, I just love how I have a little bit of sun way back there. Let's see if I can. So you have just a little bit of sun way back there. And then I've also got this beautiful ridge here. So this is a trick to photographing wide angle sand dunes, is to find a nice ridge line. So you have these nice sand ripples here, and in the shot they kind of lead up and around towards the sun in this bright spot here. I did have to focus stack this because I'm very close to the ground, and then I did bracket just that last shot here so that I have the sun properly exposed. So another tip to remember when photographing sand dunes is to not rely on the autofocus. It fails pretty often actually in the sand dunes because there's not a lot of definition, there's not a lot of contrast to the sand. It's all the same color. And the best thing you can do is to try to find a sand ripple to focus on with your autofocus, but if that's not working, just do manual focus. Sometimes what I'll do, even then, sometimes it's kind of hard. So what I'll do is I'll take a stick, or I'll just take my finger and like poke a little hole in the sand, and then that will give enough definition that I can find the focus point and make sure it looks nice. Another tip for photographing sand dunes is to make sure only the bottom segment of your tripod is extended first. And so that is to prevent any excess sand getting into the joints of your tripod. So you can see here, I wanted to get low, but I still need a little bit of height. So instead I just did the bottom half, because you can see here quite a bit is beneath the sand. It's always going to sink, and I actually sometimes push it into the sand in order to get better stability. Okay, the light is fading, so I'm going to head back to the vehicle now where I have my tent and everything set up. It was a pretty productive amount of time though, just in the span of 30 or 40 minutes. I think I got a good 3 or 4 compositions there that I'm pretty happy with. That's the one cool thing about sand dunes, is you just, in no time at all, you can end up getting some really cool photos. Unfortunately today, I just got sidetracked with a few things while driving and ended up getting here a little bit later than planned. But I have the next couple days of camping to enjoy this spot and just try to photograph as much as I can. So I'm going to head back, get to my rental car, set up a tent, eat a little bit of dinner, go to bed, and then wake up early for more sand dune action. All right, back in the sand dunes. Climbed a big one, biggest one I could find this morning. It actually wasn't that far distance-wise, only a couple miles, but it felt a lot further. And the view on top of this thing, let me show you here. Oh my God. So this is absolutely incredible to see these like endless sand dunes. Anyways, so let me show you more about the composition I have here. Doing a panorama. I found this great S-curve leading up to this kind of divot in the dunes there. I just really like that, and got the warm tones from the sun coming up on this side, and then the cool tones over here. So I really loved that, kind of the way the light and the shadows played together. I did this as a panorama. It's almost a full 180 with the 14mm lens on here. F14, and of course in manual settings so that there's no weird exposure issues. And I definitely had to bracket that. So let's find out how they came out. So this is an example of how you can get really cool abstract stuff, you know, just focusing in on a tiny portion of the landscape. It's almost like the curves on a body or something, you know, you don't really know, especially with how skin colored it is. So I'm at F13 because there's these, doesn't really look like it, but these are a lot closer than this. And I checked on my first shot and the background is out of focus at F9. So I'm up to F13. ISO 640 for a faster shutter speed. And for this one, I have a 5-second delay on here, as well as image stabilization turned on. Because there's so much wind right now, I don't want that to affect the sharpness of the shot. Another fun thing you can do with telephoto lenses is you can do a grand landscape in a scene like this. I'll show you here. With the wide angle, I kind of exhausted everything I could from this vantage point, but I noticed these beautiful sand dune peaks in the distance. And so I zoomed in, rather than getting the patterns of these more close-up sand dunes, I zoomed in way back on the further sand dunes back there and did a nice panorama. I didn't have to worry about the f-stop because it's so far away, so f9 was okay. Still sticking with ISO 400 for a faster shutter speed, but let me show you what I got here. Each time I'm ready to go, I end up finding another shot and getting sidetracked. So here I found these nice ripples in the sand, and I'm kind of doing a panorama here. I know I've done so many this morning, but just love the textures and the shapes of these. Just the like concentric or like parallel lines. Just looks really cool. So my idea is that by doing a panorama, I can get them all kind of like zooming up into the same direction, just like kind of from both corners, kind of zooming out into the center. So we'll see. That was so much fun this morning, running around the sand dunes, taking so many photos, playing like a little kid in a giant sandbox. That was just awesome. So many good compositions too, in just such a small area. Like I barely walked around just one sand dune, and got tons of great shots. I do want to thank you for watching and tuning in. Hopefully you learned something new about photographing sand dunes, or at least maybe just inspired you to come out and photograph some sand dunes of your own. So thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.